Hello and welcome back to another DMing Hadley game. Yeah, we're back with Ben. It's just the two of us. We can make it if we try. Just the
Right,
two of
the two
us,
of us, just
you
the
and
two.
I. Welcome back. And welcome back, anybody who happens to stumble across this Two Skies of Smoke. This is our second episode, and we are just getting to know Atlan, right? Atlan is your character.
Oh, my character, yes,
Yeah.
Adlan, Atlhan.
Beautiful. So we've got. We have a little dog. We have a dog alert. Hello. Hello, there's a little dog. Yes. Oh, she's good. She's sweet. She's a good dog. This is Hildy. Oh, she's a sweet computer dog. Okay, all right. Oh, there, away she goes.
Sweet little dog girl.
She is so good. All right, goodbye.
Oh, I was a little bit Scottish there. What a sweet little doggo.
Yeah. Goodbye. Goodbye. That's my girlfriend Sarah. Everybody. I can jump up and sit in your lap. Goodbye. She's not allowed in the bedroom when I'm broadcasting. But she gets a free pass because Hildy's here. So yeah, we're gonna get to know Atlan a little bit better. We're gonna delve into this city and this world. We've met a couple of characters so far in this space, but many more to come.
Very notable. Also, I am gonna get to know Adlan a little better because very uncharacteristically for me, I kind of trying really for the first time trying this more exploratory approach towards character development.
Yeah,
so that's very exciting for me.
It is definitely a different method of doing things. The emerging narrative, sort of like what we were talking about previously, is a very different method of playing the game, of just creating stories in general. Because I don't know what's going to come next. I have no idea. This is a world like most of my games, where your decisions influence what comes next. I have some catalyzing things that may or may not come to fruition, or that you may or may not be immediately aware of. So the decisions that you make will influence this world. The people that you meet, the people who you establish that your character knows in this world, are going to influence the storyline as well. So while I have a concept for some narrative arcs and some sort of hooks for you, I think that primarily this is going to be driven by the choices that your character makes, and the world will respond in kind, while other things just sort of happen in the background. What do you say we do the round robin and get to work?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sweet. If you're out there and you're watching, hopefully you've gotten it by now that the round robin consists of 4 distinct things. The first thing we do is introduce ourselves. The second thing we do is share with one another in the world our pronouns. The third thing we do is introduce our characters. And the fourth and final thing is offer a vivid aesthetic description of our characters so that they may live in each and every one of our brain holes, because I like to vividly hallucinate with my friends on the internet for 2 to 3 hours at a time, 6 days a week, often multiple times per day, and today is no different. So without further ado, Ben, Thank you. Do take it away and show the folks at home how it's done.
Hello. Lonely me. Hello there. My name is Ben, and as a now very accustomed, very thankful individual under good Hadley's care, I have the pleasure of again playing something, and this is something very new I'm playing, and I play under they them, and who I'm playing plays under he him, and that is Atlan. Hopefully this do work. Oh,
You can do it. I believe in you.
yeah, I think so. Let's search. No, why?
You can do it. He's right there.
A beautiful picture.
He's right there. I'm sure he's not far away.
I want to show the beautiful picture.
You can do it.
This? No.
Yes.
Why doesn't it register? Okay, it doesn't register the beautiful picture, but it doesn't matter.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm playing Atlan, and well, I don't know what to tell you. I'm Atlan, just Atlan, all right? Look, I'm just gonna make this. I'm just gonna do what I need doing. Yeah, need something fixed that has gears, wires, cogs, and tubes. I'm your guy. Need something broken that has bad manners, problems with boundaries, and a general lack of human decency. That can be arranged. Just like make one point unmistakable. Don't stand in my way. I'm going that way, and if you are standing there, I'm going through.
That's a real tight intro. That's good. I like that. What do we see as you come on the scene?
So it's let me just try one thing real quick because
Sure.
I think I sent you. Did I send you the picture?
I thought you presented it. I could have sworn.
Yeah, I think. Well, should that do it? Yeah.
Let's find out. Okay. And then you should be able to open that in your.
Wide.
I would say open in new tab, and then you should get a link. Or I might be able to drop it as well, depending on how quickly I can get to it. I'll race you to the finish. Open original. JPEG. No, I got it. I beat you to it.
God damn it.
There it is. And that's for everybody else. Hey, there he is. You can't see him, but the people up watching should be able to.
Yeah. So what is seen is for their young age a disturbingly grown and adult, at least in their demeanor, at least in the way they carry themselves, young man, boy, however you want to call that.
He's 16, right?
Yeah.
Adolescent.
Teenager, adolescent.
Yeah. Coming of age.
Yes. Broadly, yet not too broad shoulders, a very lithe athletic build that is somewhat betrayed in its full impressive development to this stage by a thick and resilient engineer's garment wardrobe, thick leather pants, sturdy boots, a magnificent, the only thing very keeping pristine as good as it can be, vest or vestman more than that has just in different stages deployable sleeves almost. You can take them back with magnetic steps in different stages.
Mm-hmm.
And across their chest, across his chest, he has a bandolier that fits his working equipment, all his different implements and utensils. for his engineering capacities perfectly, and Ants in the bag has a slingshot bag where he basically carries all his possessions, besides the ones that he carries clipped or at his or under his belt, which most prominently is a pair of knuckle dusters that at some point were just lever handles that were just broken off, having still the guard for pulling, and now serving this rambunctious individual very, very well. Do you have something else? I don't.
Let's see here.
Oh yes, welding goggles
Yep.
over their forehead. I mean, neatly separated leather vestment. We had a small welding tool. Oh yes, the short sword. And at the small of their bag, they carry what is basically a utility tool that has a multifunctional setup with a saw-edged back, with a incline with a hook at the end for cutting wires, and a bladed side for all the different things and ends that you need may need that for. Yeah.
Works as a good prying tool, chopping tool. I think it's got, if I remember correctly, I might have to draw this. I think that the back of the blade was actually pretty, was like a straight blade. And then there was the hook sort of indent at an angle towards the tip. And then that tip was pretty broad with sort of a hook angle, which led to a number of serrations on the front.
To saw,
Yeah, sawing / wire stripping, and then sort of a cutting tool on the back and chopping when you turn it around. Yeah, you could baton with the flat of that blade. It is not lightweight.
No, it's not.
I was looking for, I can't seem to find the type of handle that I really liked, which was that classic sort of like big lever with the curved like knuckle coverage. But might have to draw that too.
You mean from hand saws?
From your, you know how you've got like, no, more like an old fashioned like braking system for a wheel of wire. Yeah, your knuckle dusters. Some good inspo, but not exactly what I'm looking for. So we'll have to find something to show off, because I really love those as a method of increasing your damage with melee attacks. I think that's
I really thought that was a good idea that we found there. That was a good one.
Oh, that's not heavy. Oops. Man, some just close, but no cigar. Ooh, damn, that's not it, but it's hot.
Yeah,
just checking out inspo. I'm like, what you got there?
Didn't talk about the picture too much. So the picture more focusing on more focusing on their visage. It's surprisingly delicate, at least when it comes to the outer features, so the jaws and the jowls, the chin, and also the lips and the mouth. But then, as you come a little bit more to at least to the more telling aspects, I would say, so eyes, nose, and the general the generally latency of an expressiveness. It's you can see in this face that this individual has seen something and has gone to a very rough past at some point.
He does have. Does he have the haunted one background? Is that what we ended up?
Yeah, that is what we put there. And the scar is there to tell of that story. The very the very cold, haunted but decisive also look, and very pale complexion, and a short shock of jet black hair.
I like it. I like it. Magnificent. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him tonight. Beautifully done. That just leaves me, DMing Hadley, he, him pronouns, here for 60% or so of your DMing needs. Yeah, just a few, there's a few things I don't do. Maps. I don't do maps, which is about 40% of playing D&D, and I don't do it. It's just not my thing. I can, but
I
just don't have time for that.
It's so dependent on which style of play you drive.
Yeah.
I don't think you can generalize D&D to be 40% of maps just overall.
I can. People. In fact, it's probably more. Because, especially by time commitment. Commitment between maps, like making them and playing on them take up such a tremendous amount of time of gameplay. But I do sort of make up.
Yeah, I mean, if you're this kind of player or DM, that's perfectly fine. Nobody is going to stop you. In fact, there are many support systems in place on a corporate level, but also on just a communal or collective level. Yeah. Well, then also there is this whole community that plays more by the rules, and I think it's even implicitly, if not explicitly, written in the DM's guide. I don't know the specific phrasing, but that everybody can play by their own interpretation of the rules.
Oh yeah,
there's nothing written in stone, and so correct. Every play group, every DM, an extension of that play group, can find their own way of playing, and I don't think that's anything wrong with a plethora of different styles.
I love different methods. Yeah, that's the whole thing, right? It's all a little different for all of us. But it's time to get to work, both literally and figuratively. As you cross the threshold of Pascal's, you see your mentor. He is a sturdy-looking gentleman with curls of dark gray and silvery hair. He has a pretty close-cropped beard. His mustache is a little longer. It stands out against his shorter beard, except for the little sort of peak at the chin. And he looks up with greeny blue eyes from his desk / reception area inside of his shop. And you can see behind him, through parted curtains, sparks of welding. You can see tufts of smoke swirling up behind him. The machine shop that he runs here is very active already. And for those who weren't here for our previous session, daylight is a commodity that is in short supply. Every day, there's only about 6 to 8 hours of daylight. The dusk and dawn seem to last a little bit longer, but by way of like light overhead that's illuminating the world that you experience, usually you only get to about 6 to 8 hours of it. And you woke up just as dawn was breaking, and we sort of saw that your character started interacting from this upper ring, and made their way back down to what is affectionately known as the drain. And the drain is a lower. It is as far as anyone knows the lowest section of the city of Anil. That's Anneal, Anil. And that's a little play on words, since I know you love linguistics. There's two different derivations that title draws from, and you're welcome to lean into that. But as you come in, you're starting to see light sort of beam down over the drain behind you. And these structures are just absolutely coated in filth and ash and burned petrochemicals, and all manner of dust and grime and grit. And as you turn around, Pasco hands you a sheet of tin, upon which you can see laser engravings with a list of your responsibilities for the day. And as you sort of look down this list, we see that flat silvery color, and we see the laser etchings pretty deep into this material that list about 10 to 12 pretty minor repair jobs. There's a couple of water pumps. There's a couple of turbines that needed attention. There's some electrical coil packs that need attention. Stuff that literally you can knock out probably in a couple of hours of diligent work. If nobody messes with you, nobody gets in your way, to max 3 hours to get that done. But at the bottom of the list, there is an on-call notation, and you realize that you have to head on site to a facility and help them repair their pump system. And as you see that, you realize that this is an ongoing problem that you've dealt with now 3 or 4 times in the last month, and it's starting to become an unnecessarily regular thing.
So I think as Adlan emerges into this store, he doesn't stop to say hello or anything. He's very routine, very driven towards his goals. So he gets in and just shortly just acknowledges his employer, takes more I imagine more so he is noting something and holds out the card, the tin card, just also knowing how it works with Adlan at that point. Adlan snatches it, tucks it under the belt for a moment, just goes to a left-hand wall of implements and just takes the one he used, and doesn't need for ongoing jobs, but for that he used for the specific ones that he had the last day, and just neatly put them into the spaces. Takes the sheet out, and without looking at the wall because he memorized everything. He just takes the one he needs for the jobs and puts it into the belt, puts the card back, and just still taking those and checking the wall if everything is in place, polishing something off here and there, checking the state of his things, or he just over his shoulder palms at fifth. They are just not gonna make it all the while if they not make this goddamn emergency repairs and just changing on better parts. They have to really at some point change them out. It's not gonna hold forever. I can make those repairs all the shit I want.
As you're sort of grumbling over the list of things to do, and realizing that these repeat orders really are sort of like hamstringing you from getting at least more enjoyable work done. I don't know if you've ever had the joy of working on water pumps, but not the best way to spend your time having to repair them over and over again. But as you are sort of in the midst of your grumbling, you feel a significant bump into your hip, and you look down, and excuse me, Mister, and you see Pascal's daughter. She is a dark-skinned girl. She's got little sort of pom-poms, afros. She's got bright greeny blue eyes, and sort of like light chocolate colored skin. She's wearing a jumpsuit, and she's got a harness on, not unsimilar to your sling pack, where she has a number of tools on her chest and around her waist. And she looks up and says, "Hey, bud, almost missed work this morning." And she slaps you on the back. And leaves a very small, greasy handprint on your jacket.
Just Atlan and just focusing on the wall, just putting it in place. That doesn't even look down. Just say with the faintest hint of a smile, "Told you not to get in my way when working."
Well, you're not working yet, are you?
Well, that is a construct. Why do people care about someone being on time? It doesn't do anything. I get all the work done that needs doing, even if I do work overtime.
She says, "I don't know. I'm not in charge of these things." And she reaches up and tries to slip that tin list out of your harness, or out of your sling bag. And she's pretty quick. As soon as you realize that you see that silver start to shift, it's already in her hand, and she's jumped up onto the workbench, and she starts to go, "Why does he have you doing all of these little tasks?"
And she, I think at that point he is accustomed with this, so he just takes the upper one of it, and then goes just from, because this is a work that other people do in a day. I do that in hours. This one, don't even let me started. You won't find anyone doing that. This one, oh well, tricky one, not for me. This one, well, that's just tedious.
As she looks down, she looks at the. She says, "I can do the turbine one, if you want me to try and knock that out for you."
Well, that's my work, isn't it?
Well, she starts to sort of hang her head a little bit. Roll me an insight check.
Yeah.
We're gonna roll some dice tonight.
Ooh, dice. Yeah. I didn't expect it.
Who would have thunk it?
Nobody could have thunk it. I think that's a 15. If I'm not totally mistaken. Yeah. Oh no, it's actually 17 F plus 4, not plus 2.
Yeah. So a couple of things here. The first is that she is not technically an apprentice. You are an apprentice. You are learning this trade. You are under Pascal's wing. You are a competent individual. You are aspiring. You are a rising star for all intents and purposes, comparatively. A lot of people don't like that because there's a lot of people who've been doing this job for a long time who resent it. A couple of the old guard really appreciate you because they know that at least somebody can cut these gears and fix these turbines. Because when I'm gone, there's no one left to do it but you, Atlan. You get that.
I also think Atlan, in his very pragmatic, and moderately somewhat divergent way, has a great appreciation of routines and implementation that has a history and that has a standing functionality. And so there is his appreciation in a different way than maybe other would appreciate it of this long-standing practices of this trade.
Sure. I can appreciate that. I'm a big guy. I'm a big process improvement guy. So I love how you've done it. Now let's find a better way.
I don't think he would made a trade-off for the practice in favor of or against the improvement.
Right.
He just will do it in a way, the improvement, that it is still in coherence with it.
Yeah, I like that. But unfortunately, Kima here, Pascal's daughter, she is.
Is it Keyma?
I've got Kima. It could also be Keema. What are we? Let's see which we like. Let's do Keema. Kima.
Okay.
She's maybe 13. She is a small 13. Her mama, rest her soul, was not a large woman, and even though Pascal stands nearly 6 feet tall, definitely, except for the eyes, took after her mama, and she is she's a little soft. She's not chunky. She's just soft. But she is a diligent worker. Unfortunately, because she's so young, despite her intellect and capabilities, she's not often allowed to actually do the work. And you have grown accustomed to her being like, "Hey, let me do the thing."
I think Alan really appreciates her because, similar in the way that Atlan is very direct because he doesn't have this inhibitors or this social awareness, he is appreciating her directness, especially towards him, and I think a little bit of her guiding him in some ways. So Atlan just goes while still looking at the wall and lifts the somewhat hanging head up again, and just says, "Look, all that I doing, it's just muscle memory. It's hands moving, gears turning back into place, repairing things. That's just what I'm good at. It's mechanics. You're better at this at a different level. You have the plans in your head and the contraptions. I'm never gonna do that. So what are you gonna worry? It's just a matter of time."
She sort of hangs her head and sniffles just a little bit. She doesn't cry, but she I know. I don't want to have to wait. She leans in and she gets real quiet. She goes, I'm smarter than about everybody else here. I could do every one of these people's jobs, and my dad will never let me do it.
Well, smart on me. You should know better. Isn't that the thing?
Remember, there's you see through that chocolate skin, just red rising up to her cheeks as you say that, and she's just like, if you could see steam coming out of her ears, it would. She goes, that doesn't make it better, and she swaps you with that tin list and says, get your work done. I don't want to have to come behind you and fix these things. And she hops down off and she turns and salutes as she spins away. And you see now that you're in this larger space, there's 8 really significant bays here. Most of them are just sort of like workbenches and guys doing fine sort of machining. They're grinding out piston cylinders. They're leveling the faces of metal that are going to be, metal to metal in these machines. They're cutting and polishing. There's all sorts of machine work going on. Your metal being ground and sparks flying. There's welding in the corner over there. And most of these bays really are full service stations. Everything you need is there. They have acetylene torches. They have welding materials. They have cutting materials. There are a couple of larger machines on the backside of this building that for planing and turning, and they've got what are they called? The wheels for like shaping. There's smelting materials. There's a forge on hand. There's whatever you could need to fabricate a thing. It's in this building. Again, most of the work right now is small parts, but you do see a guy in the back, and he is sort of like gesturing as you hear a heavy rumble come onto the scene, and you see it's essentially a forklift dropping off what looks like a huge piston and series of gears attached to it. The piston is taller than the man that is beckoning this vehicle in, and it's quickly set down, and that forklift backs out, and he turns and looks and sees you, and says, your new ride just came in. And roll me an Arcana check, please.
Yeah, gladly. Okay.
In fact, I'm going to give you advantage on this, and you'll see why in a second.
Ooh, that's even better. I thought it would be. Yeah, that's a synthetic 20.
Okay. As you look out, you're like, what the heck? And then you think of that gear that was sitting on the newspapers upstairs. And you're like, no way I'd see 2 antiques in the same day. This is a piston, which is used to create a tremendous amount of pressure so that all of the carbon that is washed down off of these buildings and collected can be pressurized and turned into the diamonds that you use as currency in Anil. And you can see from where you are, you can see that there's blow by. You can see striations along the face of this piston, or along the sides of this piston, where whatever pressure it's creating at this point, it's starting to wear down
Yeah.
and blow
So
by.
wouldn't that make this part, this incremental part, a unit of a minting process?
Not minting so much because they don't stamp. What they
Mhm.
do is essentially there are a series of pistons which increase pressure
Yeah.
and it's not like an engine where the pressure causes the pistons to turn. It's quite the opposite, where there are engines that turn these pistons which
Yeah.
force pressure into a cylinder.
I think it was more like a question about regulation.
Here's the thing: the diamonds are first, they're not diamonds like we think of them.
Yeah.
When we think of diamonds, we think beautiful cut little gems with very little imperfections. These
Yeah, like
diamonds,
dirty, opaque ones.
yeah, they're dirty, they're striated, they're
Yeah.
mostly cheap uh, carbons. But if you want, hey man, if you want to sequester carbon, most efficient way to do it is in diamonds. Uh,
Industry diamonds, basically.
yeah. So what you're doing, I mean, there's lots of uses for diamonds, especially in machining. The powder of them is very abundant, so it's easy to smooth things, polish things, grind things. But fundamentally, more diamonds are always being made and put into currency. But it is as much a bearer's note as anything else. The economy down here, if you didn't have the diamonds, would work about the same way. You just have a different thing to use. Diamonds are so plentiful because every day carbon is being washed down into the drain, collected in various places. The water is distilled, the carbon is retained, it is forced into these long tubes where they are pressurized, and you end up with these, quarter to half inch size diamonds, and they are essentially used as pay. And the company, they're not really even companies as much as they are just social structures where people need to clean. They clean, they take the carbon, they pack the carbon, they turn it into diamonds, they pay people for collecting the carbon. When you were an orphan, you weren't paid, or when you were still in the orphanage, you weren't paid. The orphanage was. The orphanage took that currency and bought food and supplies and all the other things. But that is essentially the top of the trickle down system, for lack of a better term.
I think Alan moves while still looking at the piston to the table
Yeah,
of Pascal, and just out of the pocket of his bandolier, just I would believe it would just like be stamped metal, like confirmation orders basically. So gives the confirmation of his previous workday from the orders and gives them to
yeah.
Pascal. Um, and just saying, well, that's that's a coincidence, isn't it? The second R50-1 I see this day.
He cocks his head and he says, "No kidding. Where'd
Yeah,
you?"
old geezer, some levels had this one. Don't know why.
He thinks, he scratches his head, and he says, "Was that Brannick?"
Sounds right.
He said, Can't believe that old guy's still around.
Makes a hell of a good breakfast, and he puts one of the bars from a slingshot bag and puts it in front of Pascal.
He says, "My God, he's still peddling this garbage." And he takes a bite and says, "Yeah, it's better than it used to be, that's for sure."
Well, it gets you through the day.
He says, "That's wow. I'll have to." And he starts to look up thoughtfully through the building, through the different various levels of the drain, and upwards towards the upper level of Anil here. And he says, "I don't know if I ever managed to hoist my ass out of this hole. I'll go give him a visit."
While he thought that, just Adlan looks over the counter, and I would think he just has a raised part of the counter, and under the raised part there are just a hanging system for the different work orders, so you can sees them in order. And Adlan points at the most outer one to the left side, which is like the least concerning one, or just
by way of priority.
They can just not serve this one and just poison it. Yeah, we've got a 88.5. No, we haven't had the time for it, so I, before making a quid, did this yesterday.
He turns and looks down, and he turns it over, and he says, "That's real generous of you, but they still owe us from the last repair." And
you can hold it back if you want. That's my part of the business. Something broken, I have the time for it, I fix
it. He says, "Why don't you stick to the work orders I give you? There's a reason I give you what I do and don't give you what I don't." And he hangs it back on the hook, and he says, "Well, if nothing else, hopefully this time it'll stick." And he goes back and he starts to inspect the side of this piston. This piston is about 12 feet tall. The rings on it are about 9 inches thick and spring loaded. Roll me an investigation check as you start to see him inspect this blow by.
Okay. That's +0. That's a 12.
As you look at it, you've never seen anything like this before. There are the face of the piston looks like like a small bomb went off. It's big enough, it's thick enough, it's heavy enough that it didn't break it, but it's almost like as you step back from it, the face of it has this almost like glitter-like effect to it. Usually it's nice, polished, smooth. Even over time, it's sort of a packed black. But in this case, you can see that chunks of carbon have been blown off, leaving like a 1/4 inch thick layer. But you can see that this area in the middle of it, there's just like and each one of those little edges that, or sort of like marks that makes it to the edge, is where those striations go out along the piston, but you don't know what the hell could have caused it. And it seems very out of place because while this is an older machine, they're not regularly serviced because they just do the thing. They just pack air, and that air is used to create hydraulic pressure, and that hydraulic pressure, smashes down on the carbon, and the carbon becomes diamonds. And it's a very simple process. You've been introduced to it for years.
I want to look at from a distance, just hands behind his head. just looks at it. Well, you can fix the damage. You cannot fix their habits. What the hell are they doing with that?
Pascal steps out from behind this piston, and he says, "Work on your list. I'll work on mine." And he turns and he looks back at this thing, and we see him sort of silhouetted against this explosion with little shimmering holographic like glitter embedded in the face of this piston. And he turns and sees you and says, "Chop chop."
And while holding his hands up and going backwards towards the exit, well, it's a short list if you need a hand. Just saying.
He turns around, faces this piston, and it does not continue talking to you. As you go back,
and he goes.
As you go back into the workshop, however, you see that a number of the things on your list have been staged on your work table. It is very evident that Kima has taken some time, gone down the list, pulled all the tools you needed, but she has obviously gone and staged all of the different things that you need to work on. Again, most of them are very small. They would be tedious, but as you noted and as we know with your character, you're able to sort of knock these things out in short order.
Should I make an Arcana check just to see?
No, because these things are mundane for you. Yeah. It doesn't take that much to... You sit there with an acetylene torch and you bend a couple of turbine fans back in, and then heat treat them, and then pressure test it and change out some bearings. This is not rocket science. I mean, technically.
This stream of hyper focus.
Yeah.
Where others maybe set it aside, make a pause for a little while, or consider a different aspect of their workload. He just goes through it, step by step, and an immensely practiced work ethic.
I think that we just sort of see this almost stop motion effect where it's just like you working on one thing. We see the goggles and the torch come out and bend this fan back in place. We see these parts get swapped out and changed. And we see the reclamation. Reclamation is a huge part of this society. Nothing goes to waste. There is no garbage can. There is only reclamation. And so everything, especially in this shop, say again?
Just like Warhammer 40k. Everything is reused.
Everything is reused. Everything is reused. There's nothing that goes to waste here. And so the old bearings will get melted down and turn into something else. The oil that was in the bearing is going to be distilled and cooked down again, and whatever petrochemicals can be reconstituted will be, and whatever excess carbon will be flushed down and packed into diamonds eventually.
So at some point where he has a scrap piece of metal before it gets melted down and reused in the process, he just puts it at the side of his work table, away from a hazardous environment.
Sure.
So that it's approachable by others, and puts one of the bars on it and writes on the visible metal, not necessary, but thanks, and just puts it there for Kima.
Nice. I think we see, sparks fly, machining sounds as the other workers in this shop go about their day. And as you finish up your list of things, we see Kima sort of come by and steal away the things as they're repaired. and bring them up to Pascal. And we see him marking off these different invoices printed on tin, laser etching for the bills. And as we go back, we see her pick up that sheet of metal with the notation that it's unnecessary. And she says, how'd you manage to not use this?
Well, I am that good.
She's like, that's it. No, you're going to have to show. And as soon as she begins to sort of protest that you have to show her how you did this without using extra metal, Pascal steps up behind her and he says, all done with everything else?
List done.
Then let's get you out on site and see if you can't get these pumps running again.
She coming?
He looks down and she looks up with a level of enthusiasm that like she goes full anime eyes. And he looks down at her and then he looks at you like if she wasn't standing there, he would pull your sword from behind you and stick it in your neck. And he says, no, looking back and forth between the two of you. He says, you, points at you, go, you watch it. And you see her deflate somewhat. As you sort of look down over that last order on your worksheet for the day, you see, yep.
I think you could almost make this like stancing. So you have this you have like these rectangles, and then you have a press at every workbench, and you can punch out the things you've done.
Yeah, so it's just a little. Yeah, metal, it's just a little. Yeah. You just slide, bam, 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 like a time clock.
And the metal can be reused.
Yeah. So
you can.
Oh, it is. Yeah, you know.
Cut it off. Yeah, you can cut the. You can cut the work order off, and the work order can then be reintroduced into the circle.
Generally, what they end up doing is they take the whole thing and then just press it again, and then laser etch because it only takes off a tenth of a millimeter worth of material, and so what they can do is just hot stamp it again, bam, and it's just like a clean sheet of tin. As you look down at the sheet, that's not what I wanted it to say, or else I would have fucking said it that way. Sorry, I've got to. Keeps wanting to change Barcona to Barcelona, but those are not the same places. I'm not sending you to Barcelona to fix a water pump. I'm sending you to Barcona. Barcona is, if we were looking at a clock of Anil, it is a big, sizable ring on that upper level, and Pascal's workshop is about 5 o'clock. Under that ring sort of covers the lower level of the drain, and so his shop is like 5 o'clock. Barcona is just about the exact opposite side of town. It is just between 11 and 12 o'clock on that clock, and Pascal looks at you and says, why don't you take the rig? I don't want you getting there late, and I don't want you falling off a rooftop again.
Happened one time.
One time is one time too many. And he points over towards what looks like a post-apocalyptic dune buggy. It has pretty angular fenders, so just sort of like a 45-degree angle, 0 degree, and then 45-degree again. And it has a roll cage and a. It's very Mad Max looking. It has its windscreen is a sheet of metal with holes punched in it that leave a lot to the imagination when driving. Honestly, the sides of it are the sides of it are open. The engine.
The thing you want to have a lot of imagination in.
Yeah, it's what's ahead of you.
Driving.
The engine in the back is a V twin, which makes an ungodly amount of noise because there is no exhaust system on it. It is 2 cylinders and 2 pipes that just point down. And it has on top of that a sort of a cargo area and a flexible polycarbonate cargo net. So if you need to take anything with you, he sort of says, "Oh, here's the keys," and he tosses you the key. It looks like a small key with a little disco ball on a key fob. And he says, "Let's not dawdle." And he looks up, and you can see that the sun it's gone in this circle from daybreak over here to you got about an hour and a half before lights out.
Haste not waste, right?
He said, "Then quit talking and start driving."
I'm on it. And as he gets into the driver's seat.
What sort of driver would you say Atlan is?
Incredibly methodical, but also in his methodology, because he is so methodical, he's also like accountably reckless.
Sure.
Because he has everything calculated. He is reckless.
Other people would think he's reckless. You are doing just what you're able to do normally. It's mundane for you. It's like when I drive fast. It's like, you're going 130 miles an hour. I'm like, yeah. Because I drive a German car. It wants to go 130 miles an hour. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
It'll do 186. It'll do 300 kilometers an hour, but
It's like, listen, I calculated every avenue. This is
right.
This is the most.
Yeah, I think we see you driving through town. As you turn this thing on, it makes a raucous sound, and you see some heads turn in the dim light of the drain. And as you begin to rumble off, we see
highway to the danger zone.
Danger zone. We see little fire spitting out of the exhaust as you burn a little bit of rubber and peel off. As you do, we see you moving through these streets, and there aren't many vehicles to dodge. Oftentimes, what ends up happening, if you have to dodge anybody, they are market carts, which usually have artisan wares, or they are people who, generally speaking, seize up where they are in fear, and you just drive around them very easily. It does take you about 20 minutes, even at a high rate of speed, to get to the other side of town. And just to give everybody a good gauge of how big we're talking about here. We're talking about 10 miles across town.
Yeah.
It is a real city down here. And it is densely packed with people, although most of them are really homebodies. Those who work.
It's also really akin to Ravnica, right? I don't know if you know that it is a D&D release, but
Yeah.
it's also very from Magic the Gathering, and just like Ravnica functions as a planar city. It's just a whole plane is the
Right.
city, ball just built in layers upon layers upon layers, so that everything has just vanished under the city. And you have just like the immense distances of the districts,
Right.
but you also have in the district just like this massive layering.
Yeah. Down here, I mean, you dropped 180 feet, 200 feet from the top, like sunny ring where things are cleaner. And that's not the top level of this city. It's just the first one that you've explored ever outside of the drain. As you buzz through town, you pass through not just the orphanage you used to be at, but several other orphanages as well. And you know that the treatment here is not always violent, but never comfortable. And I think you find yourself trying not to reminisce as you zip through town. But as you get to the north end of Barcona, you look ahead and you see two things, neither of which you wanted to, where you are expected to be. The first thing is it looks very similar to a fire truck. There's like a cherry picker, sort of like Z fold uh, uh, hose, and the truck itself is running and sputtering. And you see two guys. One of them's under the small hood, under the cab of the truck, trying to get the engine running. The other one's trying to turn it over. And you see that the back of that truck is hooked up to a thick black hose, which is connected to a larger pump system. And you are not unfamiliar with that pump system. There's essentially a tremendous cistern beneath the drain. And that cistern, there are many, many pumps throughout town that draw water from that well. A lot of it is used to clean, as these guys are obviously intent on doing, these structures so that that carbon can be collected, it can be extracted from the air and atmosphere and be packed into diamonds. Everybody wins. But these guys are having a rough go at, and as you rumble up and see, you realize that whatever pump is broken up there, that's your guy. That's the one. This is your third time trying to fix it, and it sounds like as you get out, the guy turns around and sort of bangs his head with a spanner wrench, and looks at you, and he goes, "I'm sorry, Atlan. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell happened. We were."
And just Ellen just goes, third time.
Yeah, he looks up, and the guy in the truck seems similarly both frustrated and embarrassed. And he says, uh, Alan, just let him do whatever he wants. Just stay out of his way. Roll me an Arcana check as you come on the scene and begin to investigate.
Alan gets out of the car, sees that everything is situated, door closed. There's any safety measures that are regulatory are on, and then just while he comes up, unlatching the sleeves, getting them up with the at all times a little bit blackened on lower arms.
Just sort of seeps in over time.
Yeah, it's just there. It's just there to stay. And as he comes closer, look, have no problem seeing you. Always a delight. You have to find another way doing that.
Yeah, Alan, the guy in the truck, moves to the side, and he takes a draw off of essentially what we would recognize as a vape. These are actually relatively uncommon down here, and what's in them can vary significantly. But you see a little purple light illuminate from beneath his fingers, and a little yellow light from the cartridge that he's drawing from. And he takes a big puff and he leans his head back, and he's got sort of medium length, curly, blondish hair. And we see him sort of lean his head back and exhale a cloud of lavender colored smoke. And he sort of leans into the wall a little bit. And he says, Tang, how long is this going to take? And his buddy, who was under the engine, walks over and sort of presses this away and says, as long as it takes, Alan. And he looks over to you as you begin your inspection. Did you roll an Arcana check?
Yeah, I rolled 21.
Okay. Pretty simple here. There's two pump systems. There's one that pumps the water to the truck. There's another pump system which is driven off the engine, and it's supposed to be a very easy symbiotic relationship. When the pump went bad over here, the engine started over cranking, and the pump burned out on the truck because the pump on the well house burned out. Roll me an investigation check, please.
Yeah. So it's a cascade failure almost.
Bingo.
Investigation. Let's see. No bonus to that one, but it's still a 16.
Okay. As you depressurize the water, you realize that it essentially like hydrolocked. Something with that piston at the same sort of like blow by, and the piston that was pushing the water forward got water on the other side of it. It's hydrolocked. There's nowhere essentially for it to go. And did I lose him? Oh no. Hopefully he'll come back. Usually I pull that by standing still for exceptional periods of time, but that one looks like a genuine internet seize up. I couldn't hold still that perfectly for that long. Let's see if he makes it back at like clockwork. There he is. Hey, there's two of you. And move just a little to your left. There we go. Yep, and then turn your head just a little bit, and it'll get you back in line. Yeah, we go. Not anymore.
Okay. Okay, now I'm to me.
As you look at the pump, you had a pretty good idea that as you're draining the water from this system, water got past this piston too. And
the last thing I heard was as I depressurized it.
That was the last. Yeah, as you depressurize this system, you see that water's coming from the wrong side of the cylinder.
Yeah.
Generally, the way these work, not unlike an engine, is the piston moves down, it draws water in, it forces water up, that goes out a one-way valve, and
Permeation.
and away we go.
Yeah.
With what has happened is, for some reason, that water's gotten past the piston into the bottom of the cylinder, and it went down, and there was nowhere for it to go. And
Yeah.
so when it seized up, they were continuing to draw the hose, and there was no water.
Well, the upper body is under it, and he's expecting he just shouts or yells so he can be heard by the people.
Yeah.
Cascade failure. It seems like you have a filtration issue. Wrong permeation. You really need to get that order in. You need to get that element needs replaced.
Yeah, Alan slaps Tang. He's on the other end of the truck from you guys. And you see him just like, I thought I told you to get that fucking order in. And Tang looks at him with a dopey, sort of like emotionless gaze, and says, I thought I did put it in. And as you're continuing to drain this water out, you begin to see a droplet forming, and as you look at it, it's sort of iridescent-y, and as it falls and hits the puddle of water beside you, you look over and it's got that oil slick effect on it.
And he says, "Oh, was that? Seems we have a strange agent here. Did you put something in?"
They both sort of look at each other and start walking towards you, and Tang looks out and says, we don't put anything in. We just take the water out. Everything else gets rinsed down into the gully.
Well, that's bad news. Because if that's so, we have a corruption, at least in this unit.
He says, so how long till you can get it back online?
This year? Not quite clear about that. But if there is like a foreign agent here that has to be put into the system, you have to notify them.
These two guys look at each other and are like, oh, listen, you can send the paperwork on that. Can you fix the pump on the truck? We'll just hit another neighborhood.
I get going and make it as fast as I can, but get that, you have to get that in as a regulation. It's only trouble if you don't.
Yeah, Alan looks over at Tang and says, I'll take care of it. I'll take care of it. And goes back to the truck, and you see him grab a binder. It has many of these sheets of tin in it. And he starts scratching with a diamond-tipped pen some notes.
Yeah, Atlan fixes as good as he can, and when done, he just slides and says, "Out under there," goes to him, work order, and just pulls his hand out to wait for the work order to give it to him.
Yeah.
I get it to Pascal. I inform him, but if he sends you the paperwork, you gotta get it in. That could be bad.
Tang offers up another piece of tin, and he says, I guess I can sign for that, and hands it over. It is a very small sheet, and it is stamped with general reclamation systems.
Mm-hmm.
And it has while most of the stuff on it is like laser etched, it says pump failure, location, BARC dot 0157. And lists, pump failure on site, vehicle number, XR5328, and hands it over to you. He says, "We'll take care of the paperwork. It's fine. It's fine. But if you could just fix the pump on the truck, at least we can start working on tomorrow's neighborhood, and we can come back and do this one tomorrow."
Oh, didn't I then finished?
You've got the pump, essentially the pump that draws from the well. You think that you can probably get drain the excess fluid and maybe get it running again. But there's no guarantee that you leave right now and it won't stop the second you turn around and leave. So if they're going to file that paperwork, it's going to have to get inspected. There's going to have to people come out before they can use it again.
So listen, I take that paperwork, I get it into Pascal. Now I'm making efforts here. Yeah, I am going to finish this. You're going to turn it on. You make a cycle, see if it works. If not, I'll look what I can do. But then, well, like I said, maybe need replacement, maybe not. Let us see. And then he would get on to make it so and just make the reparations, get through them with like one working cycle, see if it works.
Okay. Roll me another Arcana check with advantage.
Oh, come on. Yes, there it is. Extra 20 I was looking for.
Okay. As they run through here, the engine gets started. You hear that pump start to whine. You turn it off. You go back down to the far end of the truck, and I think we just see this like little pinhole drain that you've opened up here to get that excess fluid out. And I think we see as this thing starts back up, it takes just a second to sort of clear the air in the system, and as it does, it runs very well. And by creating that little pinhole, it'll be very difficult to end up vacuum locking or fluid locked in the future, because any excess water will just drain out of the system. But whatever's degrading this will continue to do so. As these guys start the truck up, and you hear the hose on the back starts shooting a spray about 100 feet down the road, and is just wetting the front of a building, which you can see almost instantly. You can see past the black, and you can see this like actually nice red brick structure. And it is rare to see that, because by the end of the day, there's already soot and grime and all of these things that have redeposited on these buildings. But for a moment there, it's very lovely. And these guys are like, okay, cool, we're all fixed. And Alan gets out and looks at you and says, Thanks for taking care of that. That could have really fucked us.
I'm just saying, abridged, not fixed. That is not working order. It's just preliminary. We need to get a permanent solution for that one.
He says, it's fine. I get it. I got it. He disconnects from this pump house, shuts it down, locks it up, so that nobody can get inside. And you see him drain this hose and set it back up onto the truck with Tang's assistance. And as the two of them sort of close down these arms over the pipes, they hop back in the truck and start to trundle off. And you hear as Alan's driving, "We'll get the paperwork, we'll get the paperwork." And the two of them begin to pull away.
Yeah, maybe there could something be like a colloquial greeting, or just
what do you got?
Just, when people parting, just something like "make bright," where you have so little sunlight or so little brightness.
Stay bright.
Make bright.
Okay. Yeah, as these guys depart, you are all but done for the day. The pump house is fixed. You've gone down your list. We see the last light of day. As you look up, you see just a little bit of the sun just still there. And as you look out, you can start to see the building that you're beside beginning to cast a shadow. And as you do, you realize you do need to get back. Pascal's a daylight hours business. There are people that get there early. There are people that stay there late. But fundamentally, your service hours are for the 6 to 8 hours while the sun is up. And there's a few reasons for that.
Yeah, like Adlan goes back to the car and makes haste back.
Okay. Roll me a perception check, please.
Oh man, that's I'm lucky today. That is not a good sign. I will have, like, it's always regression to the middle, right? I will have a session where I will roll dog shit poor to get this in balance again. So it's a 13, and perception for me is +4. It's not bad. It's
17. 17 total?
Yes.
Cool. As you are driving along at speed, you don't see what's happening. But we do. We see you zipping down this street in this little 2-seater dune buggy contraption. The roll cage looking through the little holes ahead. But behind you, we see a elongated scooter. Small wheel up front, pretty sizable one in the back. And we see a figure with a mask and like welding goggles as they are pursuing you. And there is a second person who's sitting on the seat behind them. And they rise up, grab this person's shoulders, put both feet on the back seat. And as they leap, you look over and you just see the bottom of 2 boots come in. And how's a 19 versus your armor class?
Oh, that's gonna hit for sure. Baby.
That is going to be 8 points of damage. And can I get I need 2 saves. Can I get a strength saving throw first?
Yeah. 17 plus things.
Okay, that's going to be enough. And can I get a dexterity saving throw, please?
Yeah, I had that one coming. Where my dexterity save? There is my dexterity save. Oh, it's not good. That is not good. That's a 9.
Okay. You managed to stay in the seat. That's good. You managed to hold on to the steering wheel. That's good. You don't manage to keep from turning the wheel quite sharply as you're struck, and we see there's just like the smallest little clip door. It's a joke. And we see you sort of like bam, and we just see you hanging out the side of this thing for a second, sort of shaking, and you are struggling to get back up. But as you are, we see the back end of this thing start to break loose in fishtail. And as it does, this person uh, goes to take control of the vehicle. What are you gonna do?
I think in this, uh, Atlan's path is really clear. He doesn't suss around or fuck around with anything with communication. If someone is that desperate to fuck with him, yeah, they getting the load. So um he just elbows this dude in the face from the side
Okay. Roll me an unarmed strike.
to get him off. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, that seems good. Let's hope. What is my plus here? Okay, that's 23.
All right.
And those are indeed 10 points of damage.
Is that with your bonus with your knuckles or not? Because that's an elbow, not your knuckles.
Yeah, I mean, it's in my unarmed fighting is still 1d8 plus 2.
Okay. It's 1d6 unless you've got your brass knuckles.
I mean, I have it listed at under actions, unarmed fighting 1d8
Right.
plus 2.
Yeah, I know. What I'm saying is that the
yeah.
D8 is with your knuckles. It's D6 for anything that's not your brass knuckles, essentially.
Oh, gotcha. That's what you mean.
I mean, rolling 1d6 plus 2, it's still going to be significant, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's 8.
Okay.
So
you are going to knock them. Uh, 8 points of damage. They fall back into the passenger's seat, sort of at a 90-degree angle. And as you try and like straighten this vehicle out, it spins twice, and they kick out. And as they do, they're going to catch you right on the chin. That's a 24 versus armor class. And it's only 3 points of damage. But you hear a squealing as your engine sputters and stalls. And then you hear a starting to approach you. And as you look over, this person's wearing pretty well reinforced. It's very similar kind of to the garb that you have. It's this sort of like thick perforated vinyl over some either like nylon or polycarbonate structure over their body. So it's not quite as hard as metal. It allows for a lot more flexibility, but they are obviously armored. They are wearing a mask over their face, and this one's wearing sort of like full goggles instead of like little welder's goggles. Their vision's not quite as obscured. And they say through a voice box, you hear, "Get out now. It's your last chance."
Funny. Same thing. And he's gonna take the knuckles and punch him in the face.
Okay. Yeah, I think we see as you scoop one of these up off of your belt and come right overhand. Go ahead and roll me an attack. This is going to be an advantage because technically they are prone.
Okay. That's still +4, so that also gets to a synthetic 20.
Yeah. What's that damage?
Oh, let's see. Ooh, 7. 7 still. +2 is 9. No. Yes. That's how math works.
Nice. As you strike them, you hit them like right across these green glass goggles, and just shatter the right eye of them, and sort of hit the face at the same time as you break through that glass and just bam. You see their head bounce against that door, which pops open on the passenger side. But as it does, you feel something very disconcerting. And that is a nylon cord around your neck. And then you hear, and you feel yourself bodily dragged. I think a dirty 20 is going to hit you still, right? You are being now yanked upward, and we see through this shattered section of these goggles a deep green eye flecked with brown, and a very sharp, gingery hair eyebrow. And we just see a thin trickle of blood run across that brow. And as you are dragged out of the dune buggy, we see this person pull themselves back up and into the driver's seat. And as you are being dragged down the street here, you're going to take 7 points of bludgeoning damage.
Yeah, I'm out. I had 3 hit points left.
Yep. And the last thing you hear is the of the engine on that dune buggy starting back up. And as we see you sort of going end over end, or just sort of log rolling, we see you bam into a cart on the side of the road, next to some crates and boxes, and some canvas draped over them, collecting a fair amount of black ash and carbon. And we see just a puff of this carbon hanging in the air as it begins to settle over you. Roll me a Constitution saving throw, please.
Surely. I should have a bonus that makes it not quite so mediocre. I hope at least. Constitution. Yeah, +4. So that's a 16 then still.
Okay. You're not sure how long it's been, but when you wake up, your eyes flutter, and it is dark. From where you are laying in the road, you realize that you are in sort of a thick pile of carbon, and probably the reason, well, at least one of the reasons that nobody did anything to help you is because you look like you are just part of this pile. As you start to sit up and stir, we see this like soot and ash just sort of like hanging in your hair. It's matted into a cut on your face from being dragged across this sort of cobblestone street. And your head is absolutely pounding. Your mouth feels like you just took 2 spoonfuls of ash and just swished it around inside. Your sinus is hurt a lot. Your body is aching. And as you start to really come to, you hear two voices. You hear Atlan, 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 and then you hear Atlan, 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 and they're sort of overlapping these two voices.
I think maybe not particularly being able to speak. He just drags himself up, just holding his whip cage, and with the other hand straining while he moves his joints in an uncomfortable position from this general heavy soreness. He pulls the short sword and just bangs on the next.
There's pipes. There's pipes everywhere. Yeah.
Can make himself.
As you bang, 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 we are over there, and a spotlight sweeps over. And at first, it's blocked by this cart, and it sweeps back the other way. And then, as a second pass,
just like soot and ashen black. He just, as he sees that there is some form of help, he just slumps at this pipe was banging and just slumped to leaning against it to the ground.
As we look from your perspective, we just see illumination. It's just a bright light in the darkness. But as we look from its source, we can see Pascal. He is sitting at the seat of another very sort of ramshackled looking vehicle. This looks more like a service van. You can see it's got piping on top. It's got ladders on the side. It's got big sliding doors on either side and big wide open doors in the back. In the passenger seat is Kima, and she hops out as he's putting it in park, and she runs over to you. As she runs to you, we see him step out of the car, and he is carrying a few weapons. He is obviously armed to the teeth.
Yeah.
He has something that looks like a combination between like an automatic rifle and a harpoon gun. And a paintball gun. It has a very large canister on the top, and some piping that leads to a multi-barreled system. And each of them, or at least the bottom two of them, seem to hook up to different clips of bolts.
Yeah, like a pressurization system.
It seems to be like pneumatic. And he has a machete looking sword on his hip in a polycarbonate sheath, and he has a Bowie knife sized dagger in his belt. And he comes out of the truck. We see Kima come rushing over to you, and she grabs your shoulders and tries to sort of push you up against the wall.
Alan tries his best to right himself up, so he just sits at an upright angle and still coughing, looking in Pascal's direction. Wages, they net the car. One jump, had ginger hair, face busted, got him. Just like goggles, polycarbon armor. Don't know them.
As you're sputtering, Kima says, shh, 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 you'll be all right. You'll be all right. And she starts offering essentially like first responder. She got a 21 on her medicine check.
Just so that it's all right with you, I went to 1 hit point again.
So yeah, yes, yes, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
You're just to give you an idea of mechanics. Your character's not gonna die until there's a good reason for
it. I can live with that.
Yeah, most of the time, this is actually a pretty consistent mechanic. If you drop to 0 hit points, most of the time, the motivation of any antagonists is not to eliminate you. It is to remove you as a threat. Now, that being said, those narrative stakes will increase as we move ahead in this game. But for the time being, yeah.
Yeah, if you get from nuisance to a
threat,
to considerable barricade in their way, yeah.
But as you are explaining what happened, Kima looks you over and she takes a look at the wound on your face and she says, hang on, this is going to hurt. And she reaches down and she grabs a little bottle with a brass fixture on it. And she holds your face. She literally just like grabs your face and pushes it against the wall with her little chocolate colored hand, and she sprays you in the face with this saline alcohol mixture. And it feels like she just stabbed you in the eye.
Yeah, just under the hand. Nothing. I don't. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
And she says, "We gotta get you out of here." And she turns, and as she does, you see, now that you've sort of stepped out of this spotlight, you see Pascal. He's got a set of goggles of his own on, and they have this purpley green sort of color to them, but there's illumination coming from behind them, so much so that you can see the sides of his face illuminated with purple, and he is just scanning everywhere.
Yeah, it's just like Atlan just in a long process just writes himself up so that he can at least stumble his way, just dragging one feet behind and just stoically walk in the direction that this incursion happened, basically.
Yeah, as you start to walk back, it may be 20, 30 feet. Roll me a survival check, please. Roll me a survival check with disadvantage, please.
Yeah, that's a natural one.
Yeah, as you look back, you see this the spot where the car sort of slid sideways. You can see just a faint bit of disturbance on the ground still as more carbon has set in. But wherever it was driven after that, you have no idea.
And so he drops to just one knee and gets his hand on his face, then just draws back from the wound and just...
Atlan, quit dawdling. We got to get out of here. You know we can't be out after dark.
I gotta make this right. I
get in the goddamn van and we'll deal with that later.
And just reluctantly, he drags himself to the vehicle.
We see Kima. She rushes over and opens the back door for you, and sort of like helps you get inside. As you get inside, It's a fucking mess back here. There's all sorts of pipes and fittings. There's acetylene torches. There's oxygen canisters. There's welding materials. There's essentially a mobile workshop in here. There's tools hanging. Most of them are strapped down to the wall, but still rattle cacophonously. There's also buckets and buckets of scrap material, which shake and rattle. And as Kima shuts the door, you are invited to an echo effect of that slamming door that causes your head to instantly ring with pain again. And Kima and Pascal hop back into the car and slam the doors. And as they do, Pascal reaches up and flips off the spotlight and turns on this light bar, which has that same sort of effect if you've ever been in front of a Dodge truck or a Jeep, where they just have a huge bar of illumination, and it is cutting through. And as you look out, you can see it's like black snow. There's even like thicker levels of particulate raining down, and it is not. It's not a great thing to be out after dark for a lot of reasons. But the fact that the air is just thick with this caustic ash and soot is a huge problem.
I've seen with environmental reasons.
But the threat of raiders, I will also tell you this: as you are trundling back, this van ringing with metal parts clanging around, we see Pascal make a big sweeping turn on this wide stone boulevard, and as he does, you think to yourself, raiders don't come out this early in the day. Usually they pick off anybody well after sunset. They rarely take the risk of being seen in daylight, but there's gotta be a reason. You don't know immediately what it is, but something is driving them, some sort of desperation.
So, if there is like a back window, maybe having cleared his vocal system a little bit, maybe some water or liquid that he was handled by Kimo. He just
sure
says, yeah, he says had a voice box. That one had a voice box. They look like fucking imitating us. Not a thing. Do you have business with anyone? Is there someone on your bad side?
Kima and Pascal look to one another and in kind look back to you. Pascal lifts his goggles and he says, look, bud, I'm sure I've made my fair share of enemies in my day, but nobody that would go after you and not me. And Kima sort of turns around in her seat and is looking over the headrest. And she says, did you do anything to piss somebody off?
That is so wildly unspecific. That's a very
she turns around and says, yeah, that's what I thought. And as she plops down in the seat,
not to that extent. I don't have that kind of crow.
I
punch a guy punched me. That's the extent.
Pascal says, this has to be about. This just has to be about the vehicle. This can't be about you. It can't be about me. It's just got to be about the buggy. Look, we'll find it. We'll build another one. It doesn't matter. You're okay. That's what matters.
I have to make that right.
He slams on the brakes causing a cacophonous ring. You see Kima. Yeah, Kima's sort of holding on to the seat, trying to keep from getting thrown through the windshield. And he turns around and he says, "Listen to me. This isn't worth it. There are lots of fights in this world, but 4 tires, a steering wheel, and an engine are not worth dying over. You don't have to make this right. We just have to move forward." And he turns around before you have a chance to respond, puts the vehicle back in gear, and slams on the gas.
I think very indignated. In a sense, he slums and just out of the just not looking in Pascal's direction. And well, life is fighting. You put up the fight to get me in. I have to fight back on your side, though. Just I have to give something in return.
We see him, as you say that, look up into the rearview mirror. And as we see his greeny blue eyes staring back at you, he says, "We fight back every day. We fix things. We create. We keep things alive. We fight against entropy every single day. That is a fight we can win. It's a fight we have to win. Going out and trying to find a vehicle that was stolen by people who would have killed you and left you for dead is not a good investment and not a fight worth fighting."
Well, gonna settle for the bad memory he has.
He starts to slow down as he takes a hard right turn, and we sort of see that he is passing by the shop now, and he turns and looks at Kima with sort of a questioning face, and wordlessly sort of ticks, and she looks back and she sort of scratches her head for a second. And she looks back up over the back of the seat and says, "Do you have a place we can take you?"
And not embarrassed in that sense, but aware how people think of the way he lives. Not particular. District 8 is okay. S1 pipes.
As you offer a pretty general response to a very specific question, Kima is a very insightful young lady. And she looks over at Pascal, and Pascal looks at her, and she shakes her head. And he looks over his shoulder back at you, and he says, "I think you're staying with us tonight." And
he has Edmund has a very visceral reaction, as though he wants to pull himself up to go out of the vehicle.
Can I get a dexterity saving throw?
He just makes this motion. Yeah, makes a saving throw. He just makes this motion of going out. Okay, 13. What was it? Dexterity?
Yeah.
14.
Yeah, I think you're like, what? And then as he starts to turn to the left, and as he does, you start to go up and wham into the door that you came in. And we just sort of see like spots, little birdies.
And for the spots, he shakes his head and just says, "No, I cannot burden. No, I cannot be a burden. No, just let me out on the corner. It's fine."
There's no response as the car begins to slow, and then you hear and the vehicle pulls into a darkened corridor. And as you hear the vehicle come to a stop, the brakes squeak, The van shifts forward, making a final rattle of its contents inside. And Kima's already out the door before different levels of illumination start kicking on. And she reaches back and pulls open that back door. And as she does, you are greeted with a humongous structure. It looks like someone has hollowed out like a 16 unit apartment building. And as you look in, you can see metal gratework for these different lofts. And on each of the lofts are different projects and work areas and workstations. And Pascal gets out and comes around to you, and he points up towards a second story loft on the far side of this structure, and he says, "That can be your room for the night." And he turns and hangs up this rifle on the wall next to a number of
and still holding the whip cage, and so visibly uncomfortable, so very uncomfortable. Just says, "Well, only if you insist, boss, but don't have the money. Gonna deduct that from my pay."
He says, he doesn't look at you. He starts marching away. You see him rifle through a few layers of tin on a desk and throw a couple of them in a reclamation bin. And without turning and responding to you, he says, "You've done about enough for the day." And he turns and sort of like pulls his hair back and marches off. And you see him. He sort of drops his jacket, pulls his shirt off, tosses him into a bin, and walks into a big box that looks like a painted or brushed diamond plate. And you hear water begin to run. And as you instinctively sort of follow upwards, you can see that there is a pretty sizable cistern in this space, like 10,000 gallons of water. Obviously, a very significant amount for two people. The amount of space that they have in here is ridiculous, and it probably was an apartment building, and like
Yeah,
the interior must have just collapsed.
as you ran to the transition into the interior of the house directly, I just pictured. I really like your description, but I just pictured more of an old warehouse style. Just you can pull the warehouse door open, drive in, make it straight again, and then you have the space of this whole
Yeah,
hollowed out warehouse.
it is pretty significant. It does have that aesthetic. Because most of the flooring in here are those steel wire, sort of like wavy wire structures. It really does look like a warehouse
Like
or a forge or foundry.
like this Brooklyn lofts.
Yeah,
I know a few of them. Like they are in these old warehouses, and
yeah,
they just have made these different levels. Like
yeah.
it's really
The
cool.
dead giveaway, however, is that you can see cross beams that are sheared
Yeah,
off, that were vivisecting, or that sort of established the difference of these levels. And it's very obvious they came in and put in all of this after the
yeah.
fact, but the
Just
aesthetic is right on point.
just hollowing out without cutting the load bearing one.
Right, right. Um, as you move into this space, you see that Kima seems to be working on a number of projects. She goes up to the second floor, this side closest to the quote garage, which is just a huge steel roll down door. And overhead, you can see she has sort of her own little workshop. And she says, "Come on, let's get you bandaged up and put to bed. Maybe I'll show you a couple of the things I'm working on before you call it a night."
Yeah, I think he just has slumped down on just like a stool in front of one of her little workbenches, and just inspects a machine, and just just slightly laughs to himself and shakes his head. I'm gonna tell you, it was not an easy process. When your father took me in, that was a hustle. The last stage was building something, like basic machinery. You know that that you have the jibs, that you know your way around, can reconstruct that, put it together, build it up again.
As you look in front of you, you see what looks from our time like a CNC machine, like a 5-axis. You can see that the head of it's about the size of your fist. You can see a series of bits in a metal case with a polycarbonate lining. And you can see that there are braided blackened steel hoses that actuate each one of the different axes. And it looks like something that you would expect Pascal to be able to build. It's something that if you were given the time, if you didn't have work to do, you could probably make one of these. And as you're sort of regarding it and talking to her about making, robotics like this,
and he just like transitions and points at that, and then, like, I was the best of the wand, couldn't build that. My piece was far simpler than this, and it got me the apprenticeship. So, well, if you can do that now, just imagine what you can do in a few years.
She looks over at the machine and she looks up at you and she says, "I made that a year ago."
Yeah, you gotta work on that. Even I am bad, but taking a compliment that way, well.
She says, "You understand why I'm so eager."
Listen, you know what I do? I build things. I fix things. Better than fixing and building, honestly. Know how things work, know how to get them back in order. Probably better than most. Probably better than you at fixing. Not at building, though. I can see that.
She sort of
I'm simple. I'm simple that way. You're
sort
complex.
of chews on her lip there. She says, "Well, let's fix you, and then maybe we can fix me." And
you don't need fixing. Anybody that says that can meet my fist. Though.
Yeah, she just sort of like waves you off as you try and protest. But you see her make her way back across this building, and she gathers. She gets 3 big aluminum bottles, which are very obviously water, and puts them by the bedside of this sort of guest loft. And she grabs a small black vial with a little nylon cap. And she grabs some bed sheets and some linens and tosses them on top of the bed. All of them sort of a medium gray color.
He was just he just sat down in a way that is apparent that he was ready to just curl up on the floor, and looks at that, not really quite sure what he has to make of that before he recognized, oh, that's possibly for me.
Yeah.
Because he is self-sufficient in this way that he does not recognize when someone does something like that for him. He just has no prior experiences that way, and he just points at things, and like really honestly saying, cannot pay for that.
She turns around and looks at you as you walk over towards this bed. She's tucking sheets in and setting linens by the on a steel welded, really somewhat ornate bedside table. And she turns around and her face looks like you just hit her. And she goes, Adlin, you really are an idiot, aren't you?
And he looks at her, not understanding. Well, listen, living is expensive. I just haven't had the chance to save up. I cannot pay. Like,
She walks up to you and she looks up at you, um, somewhat saddened, and somewhat sympathetic, and she says, "Atlin, get some sleep. I'm sure that I'm sure Dad will want to talk to you tomorrow." And she reaches up and pats you on the shoulder. And as she starts to walk down the stairs, she says, "And take a shower for God's sake." And she begins to descend those stairs back towards the first level. As she does, you see Pascal step out from this water closet. And he's got a towel wrapped around him. And as he steps out, you see two big fans start to blast water off of him.
I just have this image of like classic thick older man scene
Oh,
coming out of shower, just revealing how very much built they in
yeah.
fact.
Oh, yeah. This guy's ripped to shit. He is absolutely jacked. He's got a lean frame, but there's nothing but muscle on it. You also see with relative ease, this guy's had a hard fucking life too. You see a big cut, about as wide as your short sword, just to the left of his left kidney. It is a scar. It is pink, thick, long. It looks bad. There's another big scratch diagonally from his top of his left shoulder to his right hip. Looks like somebody cut him with a sword. And then after that, you start to get lost in the
Yeah.
in the mix of thin silvery hair, moles, aged skin, and other scars on this guy's muscular body. But you feel as those fans kick in, it's almost like it's drawing most of the moisture out of the air. And as he takes another step forward, he grabs a large, thick robe. Oh yeah, baby. I didn't do the towel drop
Yeah.
just to be generous. I didn't do the towel drop this time. But you see him put on this thick black robe, and sort of pull his silvery gray hair back, which is started to sort of fluff a little bit now that it's been blow dried so violently. And he looks up and very sternly says, "The two of you get some sleep. We have a lot to go over tomorrow." And he walks to the left, and as he walks past this water closet, he reaches over and grabs a large red handle and pulls. And as he does, all the lights go out inside the building. Roll me a perception check, please.
Yeah. I said it. I said it. Regression to the middle. It's coming in. It's a 7. And
Excellent.
4, so 11. Yeah.
We see you from the third person behind you. You're standing in the middle of the street. And as you're looking down this corridor, we see the buggy that you were driving move through you at speed, and uh, as uh, as you watch, you see this scooter pull alongside. You see this individual jump, grab the cross beam on the passenger side, and come flying in feet first. We see the vehicle skid back and forth, and then come sliding to a halt as the engine sputters. We see you from behind as you come overhand and bam, right into this Raider's face. And then see you almost in the same movement being yanked out by your neck and being carried along. And as we look from your perspective, we see this person start the buggy and turn, and as they do, they reach out to shut the door, and they look right at you, right at us. And we see that eye, and we see that sharp red eyebrow against the bright green and brown eye. And then we see her shut the door and turn, and we see a coif of red curly hair exposed as she drives away. That is where I'll leave you tonight. So cool. Kudos and congratulations. I would say for not dying, but technically,
yeah.
Technically, well, you did go unconscious, but you never had to make death saving throws. If there will definitely be a time where we'll have that level of challenge.
But I really like that kind of solution. That it's, yeah. I think it's appropriate, extremely so even for Adlan. I don't think that's the first time that's something that transpired for him.
No, probably not with anything. At least this is the first time with something so valuable, something that wasn't yours.
That
was
like,
taken.
For the principle,
right?
That he was like jumped, overwhelmed, or was just overcome by some force, and was left in a ditch. I think just he that is not a new experience for him. I think, like, just in the context of this, everything that you described is like internal, behind eyes that are wide open, just laying there, one hand behind his head, just staring at the ceiling, and just building so much of self-loathing, or of almost self-hurting in emotional sense. Like, I fucked up so bad.
I'm excited to see what happens next. I really am. Unfortunately, though, I must bid you adieu and au revoir, and remind you, as always, to be good, to take care of yourselves, and if you can't be good, don't get caught. Bye-bye. Yeah, don't get caught. See you soon. Doodles.